All right, everyone. Even routine, mundane, very establishment, lamestream polling and news analysis shows that the vast majority of articles or slots about Trump, cable news, magazines, on the radio or whatever, they're overwhelmingly negative. Depending on the outlet, it ranges from slightly tilted towards negativity for even a Fox to basically like, what was it? I think it was 92% negative coverage on CNN. Literally, I think of all the coverage that took a side or had any bias in its analysis at all, it was over 90% negative. I think in some groups were even higher. Like, yeah, I'm sure the New York Times and the Atlantic, they're big fans of Trump. All of these groups endorsed his opponent. Most of these groups have at some point clamored for his impeachment. Yeah, the coverage is not exactly fair. It's actually surprising to me that his approval is anywhere near 43–44%, considering the non-stop tidal wave of negativity that he's had to bear for almost 2 years now. For almost 2 years now as president, he's had to deal with that, and for a year before that as candidate Trump. And yet, despite that, he won the election and is actually doing fairly well. He's ahead of where Obama was in approval. I think that if it weren't for the coverage disparity, if he were being covered fairly, like Obama was, I think he'd be above 50% approval right now. I unironically believe that because then more people would realize, hey, the economy's booming, he's doing well on foreign policy. It was a fucking joke when people were talking about him being bigoted or insane. He clearly is, and if he's insane, just imagine how great the economy would be if he were a sane man. I don't care if he is crazy. He's doing just fine. Doing just fine, absolutely. Yeah, I wouldn't rate him as a great president, but he's certainly better than okay at this point, especially on the economy. More people would be fixated on that if it weren't for the fact that they're constantly being told that he's done something terribly stupid, even though usually it resolves itself because it's by design. When he makes a verbal gaffe, when he accidentally insults somebody, oh no, diplomacy will break down. No, well, that's not realistic. But the LA Times, which obviously is a never Trump publication at this point for the most part, they came out and they're like, well, yeah, it's overwhelmingly negative. Yeah, the coverage is totally biased, but he deserves it because look, X, Y, and Z. He's a bigot. He's a sexist. Me too. 2 scoops of ice cream. So for all of these excuses, these reasons, it's okay if you've got totally lopsided coverage. Well, no, because that is a lie. That's a form of lying because you're simply not covering anything that makes him look good, or if you do, you spin it completely. Either way, you're not telling the American public the whole truth. This is why these publications are dying. By the way, Fox News, that usually gives lopsided positive coverage to Republicans, like for Bush, they bent over backwards and sucked Bush off in every direction. They fucking loved George W. Bush. They continued to defend him even after Katrina, which was, basically a waste of time because nobody fucking liked him at the end. Didn't he have like 30% approval when he left? And for a while it was in the high 20s somewhere. Like you're talking Richard Nixon or Jimmy Carter during the oil shocks and Iran crisis era sort of approval levels. That's where Bush was, and Fox is still sucking on his cock. It was really, really funny at the time. But their coverage is like almost 50-50 and actually ironically very even-handed. They're still legacy media, and they still have bias and lie all the time, but on that, they're like closer to the mark, I guess. Very, very funny to me that Fox News looks like the fair ones now. Never thought I'd say that one. Of all the legacy media outlets, they are the least smelly of the turds. Still a turd, but, CNN's over there fucking dripping out septic waste and covered in maggots. I find it funny that the LA Times would basically say, yeah, we conduct propaganda. If they were being honest, here'd be the header. We conduct propaganda. We're totally lopsided. We're overwhelmingly biased in favor of neoliberal globalist proposals. But it's okay because Drumpf. That's basically what it boils down to. Hey folks, yeah, we're trying to screw with your mind and brainwash you, but don't worry, we're doing it for benevolent reasons. Can you imagine how many readers they would still have if they were being honest in this analysis? It's too bad that the alt media hasn't fully risen up to dominance yet. It's going to take several years for us to grow to that level. We could lay waste to a group that made a shitty report like this. It'd be really funny. They get knocked out of existence within a week. Their readership would fall by at least 50% if their readership really got what they were talking about. It's gotten to the point where the biggest thing that the alt media can do is simply unravel all the weird newspeak and propaganda all the time. Like sort of demystify the bullshit that gets spewed out by the lamestream media like this. It's newspeak. Hey, yeah, the coverage is biased, but he deserves it. So we're going to not use the term propaganda because it has negative connotations and not without good reason. Oh, we want to be more family friendly, says Twitter. Yeah, in other words, you want to censor people. See, you're using newspeak. You're trying to fuck around with their understanding of the situation through linguistics. It's amazing how PSYOPs works, which is basically what it is. It's an extension of the MK Ultra sort of bullshit. Not to get into conspiracy land, but that is a development within propaganda. Not just used by the US government. Big tech has been using it longer. Hell, corporations have always used that form of propaganda. If you can convince people that your product, it's not deadly poison that might kill your kids, it's an effective rodent repellent. Just trust us, spray it all around your house. Just ignore little Jimmy growing an extra toe over there. See, it got rid of the mites and the cockroaches and the mice, didn't it? It also got rid of your stupid kid. Hey, one less mouth to feed. Only the strong will survive. It's very evolutionary friendly. The LA Times just ignoring the fundamental truth, which is, yeah, say what it really is. The legacy media is engaged in a propagandist war on Donald Trump without a legitimate reason. Look, they're the ones that drummed up all the charges about him being a bad individual, and now they're using that same, apparently, according to their limited fan base, self-evident fact to continue pursuing him. But if you look at the actual policies he has imposed, none of that boils down to evil, inept, crazy tyrant that's going to kill everybody and start a nuclear war. No, peace is breaking out in Korea. It's really scary for the neocons. John McCain is terrible. He has nightmares all the time thinking about it. He probably also has hallucinations because his fucking brain is melting out of his skull at the moment. Fuck John McCain. And as for the legacy media, they know what they're doing. I mean, they're lying. They're not doing this accidentally. You don't accidentally make 95% of your coverage negative about someone, even when some of that time what you're reporting on is objectively positive for the United States. 4.1% GDP growth, highest in 4 years, climbing up towards a level that we haven't seen in 15 years. That is good for the country. It's good for America. But, oh yeah, well, it wasn't quite high enough. Fuck Trump. It should have been 5%. See how that works? It's just totally stupid. No, say what you really say and say it in plain language so that people are not mystified and brain fucked. That's about all. Peace out.